Okay, so today I'm going to show you another washi tape technique, and this is going to be for a Polaroid style picture frame that you can use on your page. And so I just want to show you what I've started with here. This is just a piece of white paper, and I came up with dimensions for 4.5 by 5.5, and I have a 3-inch square that's centered right here. So that's what we're going to start with. Okay, so then I'm just going to cut this out, and the way I like to do it is to line up my little line right there and just go down. And this really doesn't have to be absolutely perfect because you're going to be covering it up with tape anyway. So it's not a big deal if it's not 100% perfect. So this is what you end up with, is just this little guy that's cut out. So the first thing that you're going to do, I've chosen a selection of washi tapes in a rainbow of colors, so you can choose what you like. I love color, so that's what I chose to use. So the first thing you want to do is you want to do a strip across this top section right here, as well as this bottom section, and I'm going to show you why. So you're just going to take your first piece, and you want it to go all the way across, like so. And you're just going to tuck that down and then tear the ends. It's important that you tear the ends rather than cut them. And you're going to do the same thing on the bottom, all the way across. And I'm working on a non-stick surface here because I want to be able to lift this when I'm ready to. Okay, and so right off, I'm going to lift this off. Okay, right here. I'm going to grab my scissor. Actually, I prefer, this is the Tim Holtz scissor, and I really like that. So then what you're going to do is you're going to come in right here, and you're just going to snip that. And the same thing on this side, just right up into the corner. Okay, and again on the yellow. Okay, and then turn it over and just lay that down. And the reason that you have to do that first is that if you don't, you'll end up with tapes layered over the top of it, and you're going to end up not being able to do that readily, and you want the rest of them to kind of stay in the layers. Okay, so you can see how that is, just like that. Okay, and then just stick it back down there, and if you come up with a tail that's a little bit longer, go ahead and just pull that off. I don't want that much length because I'm going to be tearing it and then folding it over to the back, and since this is a relatively narrow frame, I need it to be a shorter edge on that. So then you just take your tape, and in this section here in the middle, you can either tear off pieces and do something like this, or you can go across the whole thing, but if you like to conserve, you probably don't want to do that. So that's how I'm doing it here. And again, I've got kind of longer edges, and I might go back and fix that later. But for now, I just want to show you. This tape is not actually a standard washi. This is a Martha Stewart tape, so it's not going to have that transparent feel. But that doesn't mean you can't use it. Just know that certain tapes are going to have a more transparent feel, and others are not. So you're just going to go along like that and cover the whole frame. Okay, so you can see that I have covered the whole thing in tape, and I'm just going to kind of take my fingers under this edge that's already been folded down and lift this off of the non-stick. If you do this on a regular surface, sometimes you risk tearing some of the tape, and you don't want to do that. So then you're just going to turn it over and fold all of that tape to the back. And you can use the edge of the paper. It works as a very nice edge to fold against. So just fold it right against that edge. And forgive me if you can't see, because I'm looking over my shoulder to see what I can see. Okay, so then you just come along and you do the same thing. And you saw, I hope they saw that I had kind of trimmed all the edges of the tape, but I want to encourage you, you really don't want it to be perfect and have all the edges straight. I mean, you can have that, but the look that I'm going for is something more with this kind of jaggedy edge along it. And then you're going to do the same thing on this side. And there's a couple of ways that you can finish this off. When I started this project, I was intending to use the front side for a layout that I completed. And I turned it over, and I actually really liked that look. I liked how it just looked really artsy and fun. And so if you wanted to use that, because you have such a thin margin right here, you would need to trim this, and you could use your scissor or your rotary cutter to do that. If you want to use the front like this, then you're just going to come along and fold it over that way. I ended up using the back side because I really liked how it looked. But you know, both of these looks are really fun. And now you have this completed frame that you can use on your page. And I just think it's so much fun. It's a great way to use some washi tape up. You just kind of trim off anything that's hanging extra. These back ones, some of them I took a little extra piece of tape and just sort of tucked those over because they have a double layer under there. They're not holding steady. So if you were going to use this back side, you can do that. But it's also kind of fun to have, you can kind of untuck some of these edges and just have it look, you know, messy and like the tape is a little bit released, and that can be a fun look too. So it just depends on what you want. But you can see right there how I've added that little piece of tape. So there you go. Washi tape Polaroid style frames. Have fun! So I just wanted to take a moment to say thank you for visiting my tutorial, and I hope that you enjoyed it. I do hope that you will let me know if you have questions. Please feel free to link them to me. If you do something with this tutorial, I would love it if you would link that. I'd love to see your work. I hope you enjoyed it. And by the way, I apologize for all the sniffles. I've been struggling with allergies and they just won't go away. So forgive me for that uncouthness, and I'll see you next time. Thanks.